So, hey all, this is going to be a chord tutorial. We're going to talk about 5 different shapes of majors, minors, and dominants. And one important thing is if you're ever going to do chord melody, you may have a melody note way up high somewhere, and if the only chord you know that is married to that melody note is way down in a low position, you're not going to be able to reach it. But if you have, let's say I wanted a C over a G minor, because that's the melody note, if I know another G minor up here somewhere, I can grab that note. And what we're going to do is go through 5 majors, 5 minor 7s, and 5 dominant, and a major 7, by the way, I should say. First one is going to be G major. We're going to use all G's just to pick something. G major 7. This is 3, X, 4, 4, 3. And I'm not playing anything on the high string. And the very important thing to learn as you learn the forms at the same time is what are the intervals in that chord. In this case, it's root, 7th, 3rd, 5th, 1735. And knowing this can help you with a lot of things. Like if this is my 7th here, and I lower a 7th, the whole stuff, everything else is the same. That becomes a G major 6, etc. And so if you know where these intervals are, you can add all the needed extensions. So we're going to go up an octave now. And this is another G major 7. XX5, 7, 7, 7. And the order of intervals here is different. We have root, 5th, 7th, and the 3rd on top. This happens quite a bit. Now, we have kind of a weird one because definitely the root is not down low. The root's up here on the 2nd string. Actually, I'm going to invert this. So in this case, the root is on the 2nd string. I have XX 9, 11, 8, 10. And in this case, we have the 3rd, the 7th, the root, and the 5th. So it's kind of a mixed up voicing there, but it can sound cool in the right context, or if you need to grab a melody note that's up in this position. Also, it reminds me of like a Alan Holdsworth sound, because he voiced his chords so interestingly. Then we're going to go back down to another G, and this is just your standard bar form. So this is X 10, 12, 11, 12, and you can play the 10th fret again. That's just a 5th up high. Order of intervals. By the way, I'm going to put a sheet in the comments, so just link to a PDF that has all of these, so you don't have to remember or write them down now. So this is root, 5th, 7th, and then the 3rd, and another instance of a 5th on top. Then we're going to go up an octave yet again, and now our root's on the 3rd string. This is another way to play a G major 7. And I should just remind everybody again, these are all movable. Where if you play it here, it's a G. Go up a whole step, it's an A major 7. All these forms are movable. But in this case, the 5th is in the bass. 5, 1, 3, and the 7. If you want a major 6, drop your 7. That kind of thing. So if you can learn majors, minors, and dominants, just 5 each, 5 forms, and you can learn the where the intervals are, you can pretty much create any chord you can ever see on a chart, 11ths and 13ths. And it's good to know that 2s and 4s and 6s, those intervals, 2nds, 4ths, and 6ths, in the next octave, they're the same note, but it's 9, 11, and 13. So maybe we'll throw a few of those in as we go. So I'm going to do the G minor 7s now. again, it's just 15 chords, but it will get you literally thousands of combinations of extensions and things. G minor 7, 1735, 1, flat 7, flat 3, 5. Example of an extension or a color here would be, if that's the flat 7, a lower half step to a 6, I got a minor 6, etc. 1735, that's a 5. Go down a whole step, that's a 4, but really an 11th in this octave. Nice ending chord, I think, sometimes. So 1735, we're going to go up an octave and play a G minor 7 here now. And the intervals here are, well, let me start with the chord forms. It's X, X, 5, 7, 6, 6. The intervals of the chord, root, 5th, flat 7, flat 3rd. Up an octave again. This is a nice voicing. You get a lot of use out of this. This is going to be X, 10, 8, 10, 8. There's no 5th in this voicing, but 5ths are kind of in everything and not always necessary. So this is X, 10, 8, 10, 8. Nothing on the high string again. Perfectly good G minor 7. Then we're going to move, well, actually we're not going to move, we're going to stay right there on the same root and play another G minor 7. This is X, 10, 11, 10 is the voicing. And then the intervals are root, flat 7, flat 3, 5, or 1735, just like this low one was actually. Same order of intervals. We're going to go up one more time, an octave to another G, and then this is going to look kind of like the first A minor you ever learned. So this is X, X, 12, 12, 11, 13. And the root's not on the bottom, but that's not always necessary, especially if you're playing in a band and the bass player is playing the root anyway. This is 5th root, flat 3rd, flat 7th. Once again, this will be on a PDF sheet, so all the intervals will be there for you. I can't stress enough how 15 shapes, 5 majors, 5 dominants, 5 minors, will just blow up into 1,000 chords if you see your intervals, and you can change them slightly and create a new another chord with a new extension. And then the last set here will be the dominant chords, roots, thirds, fifths, and flat 7ths. Not always in that order. Root, flat 7, 3, 5 in this case. And this is a pretty standard voicing, common voicing. 3x, 3, 4, 3. Nothing on the high string. Let's put a color on this one, or extension. If this is our 5, 1735, you go up a whole step from a 5, you get a 6, but 6s are really 13s in the next octave again. So now we have a G13, just one example of an extension you can add. Up to another G. Just kind of going up an octave there. Now we have a new voicing. This is root, 5th, flat 7, 3rd. Another G7. And most people probably know this, but any of these shapes are movable. If I can slide these up and down. In this case, we know our root's here, so therefore any position I move to with this shape, the root is, or the chord's going to be named after whatever that note is on the 4th string. So we got going up another octave. This is a pretty common form too. This is X, 10, 9, 10, 8. This does not have a 5th in it, which is not always necessary. Real functional sort of dominant form. And so this is X, 10, 9, 10, 8. Root, 3rd, flat 7, And if you want to go up a whole step from an octave, you get a ninth. That becomes a dominant 9, or just, in this case, just be called G9. So we're going to stay on that root like we did before, and just build a bar voicing. So this is common, very common chord, or chord voicing. We have X, 10, 12, 10, 12. And you can add the 10th fret on the top string as well. Root, 5th, flat 7, 3rd. And just another 5th. One more, we're going to go up another octave. And this is another G7. You probably don't play that much. This has the 5th in the bass. Root, 3rd, flat 7. XX, 12, 12, 12, 13. So therefore, anytime you see this shape, the whatever the note is on that string, the 3rd string, that's the name of the chord. It's a dominant voicing based on that 3rd string root. So that's 15 chords, which isn't very much to digest, especially some of those are probably already familiar. And from that, again, you can just explode that into hundreds of chords, knowing those voicings. And the only pain in the butt part is remembering where the intervals are. It's really important to see intervals, not just memorizing them like we're talking about, but what does a 7th look like from a root? What does a 3rd look like? If you see that clearly, there's just no chord you can't play with just a little bit of harmony theory, knowing what belongs to certain chords. So again, there'll be a PDF with all these shapes and where the intervals are linked in the video, and hope it was a helpful tutorial. Have a great day.